Hello and welcome. Welcome to another show of Puertas Abiertas. I am your host, Maricarmen Rodriguez, realtor. You already know me. You know the whole story. We've been together for a while. And my gosh, I can't believe that we're together here again. Guys, again, thank you so much for all of your questions, all of your calls. I'm so excited. I'm honored. I'm humbled with all the responses that we've had to the show. I am so glad that you can join us. And like I promised you, this is your home. This is your place, all real estate related. And there's no questions here that are out of place. And right now with me, helping me to open up the show today is one of my best friends, attorney and title company, Mr. Eugene Vigoa from First Choice Title right here in Pembroke Pines. Hello, Eugene. Thank you so much for joining me and for coming here today.
Well, thank you for having me.
It is my pleasure. You know, the whole idea, as you know, of this show, as we were talking about the other day, is that there's so much that the audience and the public in general doesn't truly understand on the regular everyday transactions that we do in real estate. And I think one of them is the importance of title and what does actually title do? Because I know it's a lot of confusion. Also, I want people to know who you are. Please tell them who you are, what you do, how long you've been doing title. You're a real estate attorney, but how long you've been doing title, and what is it exactly that title does for that?
Well, again, my name is Eugene Vigoa. I'm an attorney, real estate attorney. At this point, we're actually moving office to Tamarack, but I've been doing title most of my career, probably about, I don't know, more than too many years that I want to admit. But
yeah, don't, because then people know how old we are. Don't go there. Yeah.
Let's just say, many years. And I'm a real estate attorney. I do a lot of different aspects of real estate, but one of the things I do, I'm the attorney for First Choice Title, like you mentioned. And what title is, it's exactly what it implies. It's the ownership of the real estate. And to make sure that the person who owns it has what's called marketable title. Marketable title means that you can turn around and sell it to someone else and transfer a title without any defects or liens. And the person who buys it is to rest assured they're not going to have an issue when they turn around and sell it. Because that's what you want. You want to be able to have a property free and clear of any title issues or liens. And there are many title issues, and obviously there's different kinds of liens. There's different kind of liens. I mean, it rents. It could be a mortgage. It can be a contractor. Things like that. It can be someone who sues you on the property and has a lien on the property. A lot of different things are liens. And defects. I mean, there are literally hundreds of different defects these have on title. So a title company, what we do is we examine title. And we make sure that when the buyer purchases the property, that they get title insurance that protects them against defects in title.
And like you said, imagine owning something that you will not have disposition or has an issue. And when the time comes not only for you to register to get insurance, or to be able to sell the property, that you're dead in the water. So I want every buyer to understand the importance of title. And I'm just going to have to say it. I know there's a lot of great companies doing title work. I know many of them. I think a lot of people do an amazing job. But I've always also liked to close in a place, me personally, okay? I'm only talking about myself, with a title company that also has an attorney in-house. I think that there's a little bit of an edge with an attorney in-house, because I know that I have been in situations where you guys are doing title and something comes up in the contract where if you had not been, or an attorney had not been in that transaction for us to call, to remedy, to look for different venues, or to get guidance in what not to do to put that transaction in jeopardy, that could have gone a whole different way.
Well, so I'm a little biased, obviously, being an attorney who works with a title company. But yes. I know what you mean. You want to be able to have a conversation. And obviously, I mean, the title companies, I know many of them. I deal with many of them because I represent a lot of sellers who buy choose other title companies. So I know most of them around the area, and most of them are very good and very reputable. But you're right, you want someone that you can talk to and get an opinion of the title, and sometimes it might have to be that I would have to become the attorney for the buyer, and I can do that as well.
Or a legal opinion, and it's hard to get a legal opinion from, I don't know, a title closer that in reality is not an attorney. So then
Right.
we would have to look for an attorney to get a legal opinion before something moves forth or not. So again, I'm a little bit biased too, not because I'm talking to you, only because I've lived in South Florida all my life. I've been doing real estate for 20 years. And I guess in that time, you know how easily a beautiful transaction can turn into something that doesn't feel so beautiful anymore.
Right. Yeah,
So-
it can turn bad really quickly.
Very, very quickly. Like I said, we go from 0 to 100 in a few seconds, and that's how it goes. Is there any other tips or important information that you would think that a buyer, in a previous show, I don't know if you were listening, I talked of the importance of dates, but I want you as an attorney to touch on deposit that a lot of folks don't understand, that deposit is at play the moment that that contract becomes effective. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yes, the reason there is a deposit is because the buyer wants to put it's a good faith gesture on the part of the buyer saying that they're serious and that they could lose that deposit if the transaction doesn't close and it's the fault of the buyer. And like I tell people, even if it's a $2,000 deposit, I might have taken the buyer a long time to get that money, and they don't want to lose it. The worst thing you want is the buyer to lose their deposit. And the contract is a legal contract that's binding on both the buyer and the seller. And the buyer can lose their deposit, and that's the last thing you want. And I represented sellers who asked me to go after a deposit, and I usually try to say, well, the buyer spent a lot of time getting this deposit and so forth. But the bottom line is, it's a contract, and the buyer can lose the deposit. And if the seller says, I want to go after the deposit, that could become a problem for the buyer.
That's right.
Absolutely, that could become an issue later on. And buyers want to buy, the buyer wants to close, and the seller wants to close most of the time. But a lot of times you have either buyer or seller remorse, and then after the transaction, after the contract is signed, some people want to get out of the contract, and some people are not too happy closing on the contract. And that could happen, unfortunately. But
yeah, it's
again,
unfortunate, but then again, there's other areas of the contract where a buyer has the space that if you're not happy with the inspections, if you're not happy with your what comes out in that inspection, or your appraisal doesn't come up, or your lender is unable to find you a loan, I think the buyer has other remedies, and that's why I think both sides should be careful with the contract. Any super short tip, because I'm telling you that this 10 minutes of segments, it just goes so fast for me that I cannot believe it. Any quick tip that you can give a buyer? And please be aware that I'm going to bring you back many times. No, it's true. I think that the more the folks understand the reality of the contract, the more they actually speak to an attorney that can speak their language, that is understandable, then we will have less and less problems in real estate transactions, and the public being having the best tools and the best information to make the right decision. Any quick tip you want to give our listeners?
Absolutely. You have to work with someone, first of all, that knows what they're doing, a good realtor, and a realtor that has a team and could refer the buyer to different people if the buyer needs it, and be able to pick up the phone and talk to someone. Be able to call the title agent and get someone on the phone, whether it's the realtor or the buyer, have an answer, that it's the right answer and it's an answer that you understand. So it all starts, and maybe it's a cliche, but it all starts at the beginning, getting the right realtor. Correct. And someone you feel comfortable with. I get these calls all the time. People call and they say, well, I don't want to talk to my realtor. And I know that when that happens, the relationship is broken. That's the problem.
It is. And it's sad. It's so sad. Hey, Eugene, thank you so much for coming today. I so appreciate it. This is just opening up the conversation. Like I'm telling you, clear up your calendar. I want to have you in the show a lot. Not every attorney is able to communicate in a simple way. For us folks that are not, all the legal terms, including myself, even though, we're professionals, we don't always know it all. And I think that's the advantage of having someone like you to give us advice and just to give us tools and directions and knowledge. I'm going to have to take a commercial break, but I know I'm going to be right back. Hey guys, remember, information, tips, and stories. This is your home. This is Puertas Abiertas on GKI Radio. I'm your host, Maricarmen Rodriguez. Bring him in for me, and like you see, we're going to bring the best professionals to respond to you, and we're going to get the answers together. So I'm going to be right back. I see you guys really soon, okay? Hey, we're back. We're back from commercial. Thank you so much for joining us again. Last week, I was having a conversation with Ray Gavilan from Clear to Close. He's a loan originator. And unfortunately, I ran out of time. Time is just flying for us here. But I wanted to finish the conversation. And Ray, thank you for coming back. Thank you for being on the phone again with me. And I remember that we left it off, that you were explaining to the audience, to our listeners, that why some properties required more down payment. Again, thank you. Welcome to Puertas Abiertas here on GKI Radio. And please finish the conversation. You left me hanging.
Thank you, Marty.
Thank you.
No, that's quite all right. Thank you. I'm very happy to be back, and I appreciate you guys having me back. So yeah, as we were talking about that day, we ended at the amount of down payment and the different types of properties. So it's a pretty complex topic, and I'll try not to bore everyone too much, but it breaks down in the type of purchase and the type of property. Those two can vary. So in a type of purchase, the basic ones, most common ones, are as a primary, meaning you're going to live in the property. You're going to occupy that property. The second purchase is as a second home. Second home meaning you're going to have basically a second home, a property that you're going to occupy as well, just not the full part of the year. Then the third purchase is an investment, the type of property that you're going to rent out. So depending on that will determine the type of down payment you're going to need, meaning in a purchase property that you're going to live in, you can possibly come in with as little as 3%, depending on the loan product. Up to, for an investment purchase, they're going to require 15% as a down payment. So that means of your own money, 15% is going to be applied to that purchase price. And the bank is going to lend you the remaining 85%.
And Ray, are you saying that on second home purchases, which is second home or vacation home, folks can come into a second home with 15% down, as little as 15% down?
Good question, Marty. And no, actually, for a second home, the lenders do require and allow a minimum of 10%.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So for primary would be as little as 3%. Second home would be 10%. And an investment property can be as little as 15%. Now, let's talk about the type of property. In that, we have single-family homes. We have townhomes, villas, condominiums, and a couple of others that you'll find in the market. The basic description would be, as a single-family home, that type of property will accept, it will allow for you to come in with as little as 3%, depending on the loan product.
Lot and block, free, yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
Meaning you could do FHA, you could do conventional, which those are some of the type of loan products that are out there. Veterans, a VA loan, which is a beautiful loan.
Yes, it is.
And then you can, the other type of property would be a condominium. A condominium is where it gets a little more complicated
Yes.
because the lenders, they want to see certain items fulfilled by that condominium in order to allow and accept financing with a minimum down payment.
You know, Ray, in a show that unfortunately you were not with me on that show, but I wanted to touch on a question that I received from someone. What people don't understand is that condominiums have requirements, have covenants, have restrictions, that because of those covenants, restrictions, and requirements, lenders are now in a position where those restrictions will influence how they lend to you. And I did do a little segment on that as a realtor, because I get that so much on why is it that I cannot purchase a condo with an FHA, with a VA, with a 3 or 5%. And the simplest way that I can tell a client, that I can tell a buyer, is that, you know, the condominium is an instrument in itself. They regulate themselves. They're an association with covenants, with restrictions, with things required, that makes it difficult for a lender to come in with that kind of money, because it raises the, I wouldn't say the liability, but yes, some sort of liability of getting paid back. But continue, because I want you, in your own words, to explain to folks why condos or townhomes that rule themselves as condos, unfortunately, cannot be in those type of loans that we love for all of our first-time home buyers.
Yep. Well, one of the main things, Mari, is that an association can foreclose on a homeowner. Mm-hmm. And that is one thing that is a higher risk for a lender, the one that is funding the balance of your property. And because of that, they want to see in a report, basically, it's called a full condo questionnaire. Correct. They want to see specific information that's going to qualify that property for it to be, so that you could purchase it through a minimum down payment type of loan product. And if a property, for example, someone that's looking for a condominium that's in a community that may qualify, but they just haven't been approved, for example, someone that's purchasing FHA, you right. can. FHA several years back allowed a single unit approval, meaning if a building has 100 units and you are not completely FHA approved, you can go in there and request for it to be a single unit approval. But they are going to want to see specific information. And that information, you'll get it out of full condo questionnaire.
Full condo questionnaire.
Now, if you were not able to get that property approved through a minimum down payment, whether it be FHA or conventional, then your minimum required down payment now becomes 25%.
Correct.
You have to come in with 25% of your own money to be able to purchase in that property.
And
the importance,
yes.
and then I mentioned it, Mari, in the previous
show that we had last
talked
week,
about
yes.
the different types of lenders that you work with. And really, that is when you work with someone that is a broker and they have the opportunity to maybe even help you, even if it's a second lien, but they're going to help you with that 25%, so that now you can come in with just 10% of your money. And that becomes more complicated, and I'd love to be able to go over that. But I mean, we will take up the time that we have.
You know, that one I'm going to get for next week, because absolutely. You hit on something that is true. The difference, that's the whole, oh my God. That's what I'm telling you, that I am so passionate about real estate and so many things, because if folks would only know the beauty of so much information and how really, you know, unfortunately in Florida and some places, we are not as educated by institutions or schools in the financial part of it that we're going to use every day. You know what I'm saying? Yes, of why, how, you know, why this money, where that money, and I would love to educate my listeners on the real financial questions that we deal with every day. Because most people may not be investors, but most of us will be homeowners or vacation homeowners. And we need to understand the money, we need to understand the lender, and we need to take advantage of that. You touch on something that I do want to bring into the next show, the difference between a lender and a broker, and how maybe that 25% that is needed in a condo with a broker, something could be done where you put products together for that client, and that client still comes in with only 10% down. You find another way of lending to them, and they're able to get into their first home, which is always better than renting. I do want you back for the next show. Please promise me that you're going to come back.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to. Thank you very much, Maricarmen.
No, you're welcome. I don't know what happens. These segments are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. Is it me or is it because we love to talk? But
well, things they go quickly when you're having fun.
it is true. It is true. We're having a lot of fun. And I think that the whole point is that I want to bring you guys information that you easily understand, which unfortunately, like I say again, this is where some of our schools and institutions are failing us, failing the young people in teaching us the real math that we need for our life on a daily basis. Unfortunately, they're telling me that I need to wrap this up. I only have a minute left and I need to hit the commercial. So I'll be in a commercial break. But remember, please, please, please drop your comments, questions. And if you would like to hear them answered on the show, the number again is 407-476-9059. Remember to say my name, Maricarmen Rodriguez, followed by your name and your question or comment. I'm going to be right back. There's a lot more coming up with Puertas Abiertas here on GKI Radio. And I so thank you, Ray, for being with me. And thank you, guys. I'm going to see you right back, folks. Our listeners, please don't go anywhere. I have so much more coming up for you, okay? Thank you, Ray. Besitos, gracias. Thank you for joining us. We're back. And my God, Martha, you're almost becoming like a regular. We've had so many questions for accounting and for certain things. And Jody is becoming a regular too. This is Jody, the hardest working Chihuahua in real estate. She's always part of many things that we do. We're talking in the break that you had a story of a client that called you. I would love to have that on the radio so everybody can listen to what's going on, because that is what I told you guys. This is real stories from real professionals, real tools, real circumstances. Nothing here is made up. And this is the reason why I've wanted to do this for such a long time. Please tell us what the conversation was.
Maricarmen, again, thank you very much for inviting me, for having me in this amazing program. I love to get in contact with people and give advices and helping out with this important matter. A lot of people come and ask me like some crazy questions. Sometimes they even don't know what to do. They have no idea where to start. As I was telling you, I had this friend that come to me and said, Martha, I want to sell my house, but I don't have idea of anything at all. I mean, I don't know what I should do. I don't know if I should upgrade the kitchen. They charge me $20,000 for the kitchen. Upgrade the bathroom. They charge me $7,000 for each bathroom. So she asked me all these numbers, and all together at least $50,000.
Oh, wow.
So I said, listen, this moment, the market is, like I would say, hot market.
It is very
Everybody is looking for houses. Everybody is paying like 1,000 more of what they are asking
what the appraised value, yeah.
Exactly. So why you don't, instead of invest all the money in a house that you already know that people sometimes like to buy places as it is because they want to upgrade it and
make it their own.
They want, you know, they want their own look, they want their own brand, you know, something personal touch,
right?
Personal. So, and instead, I told her, why don't put that on a 41K? 41K is if you are working for an employer that give you that opportunity, that's the best way to go. You already know that they give you twice whatever you put up at the table. So let's do that, and let me work with the house. Let me see what we can do. And you know, it's always when you go with safe decisions, and don't take decisions just out of the blue. You have to think twice what you're gonna do. find a really good way to be aware of how much is your property cost and how much will be cost if you do the upgrade.
So in other words, know what you have. You know, you need to know the value of your property. Like I've always said to you guys, go to a professional that can do a proper CMA. This is free. Most realtors do that completely for free, even as a courtesy, even if you don't work with them or list with them. That is part of the courtesy that we extend to many people. And based on that, you see whether it is worth it for you to do that kind of investment, or maybe your money is better served somewhere else. And again, I agree with you 100%. And the seller's market, why is she going to do all this investment when she's going to get the most for the house as it is right now? Let somebody else. Not every area is the same. I want to make sure that I want to make sure that I don't give misleading information. And I want to let you know, depending on the area, it's very important. Depending on the area, you may want to upgrade your house. In some areas, maybe you don't want to upgrade the house, as the house is already receiving the best prices. Some of the homes, depending on the area, you may want to upgrade because you're going to get so much more for that upgrade, because folks in that area are willing to pay more for a house that they don't have to come in and do absolutely anything in it. Also, a house like your client, to me, sounds like a great house also for like an investor.
It was, yes, yeah. But the area, unfortunately, don't give you that more like.
You can tell me in Spanish what you're trying to say.
What I'm trying to say is that el área en la que la casa estaba no es un área en la cual tú por darle una upgrade a la casa vas a obtener más dinero, porque ya los comps están ya en su tope, entonces no hay necesidad de hacer el upgrade y no vas a obtener mucho más.
Gotcha.
De pronto los $50,000 que vas a invertir no lo vas a obtener de vuelta porque no va a haber más.
El mercado donde está esa casa no sostiene una casa de ese valor.
Exacto.
And that's what we're trying to tell you guys previously. The house where the property is not going to sustain a much higher price than what they have right now. So she's going to be putting in almost $50,000 in an area, in a place where she's not going to get that money back. So it makes total sense. And that is what I tell you guys. Guys, it's not always just your lender or your realtor. Please talk to your accountants. Accountants also have some basic information. And if your accountant is not an accountant that is also familiar with real estate, or is working with realtors, or knows the market, or knows all the law that has to do with your investment, for your home, with your property, find someone who does, because that is the reason. That is the whole point, to be better informed. And my gosh, to make the best for your money. This is a time to make the best that you can with your money.
Remember also, go to a really good financial advice.
Yes.
Financial advisors are really clever on this type of moment, because sometimes you have this storage that you pay $350 a month just to hold all the things that you can hold on your house. And guess what? On the first month of the $350, you already pay the whole thing that you have on the storage, and then you pay for a year $350 every single month. How much money you're spending in something that you don't it's not worth it.
Right.
So you better think twice. What are you doing? Sometimes we stick in doing repeatedly what we do every single month. Sometimes you have to stop, find a good financial advisor, show him every single expense that you have a month, and see like what he can do for you. What you have to cut short, or things that you don't need, or things that you definitely don't want to continue paying.
So like we say, always getting the right information from the right people, showing them everything. Remember, a lot of information that you're going to give someone, or the conversations you have with a professional, especially financial advisor, your realtor, your accountant, or your lender, quote unquote. Okay, it's private information. It stays with that person. We are not allowed to divulge private information, and you guys must remember that. So please get in touch, like Martha says, with a financial advisor. Talk to your realtor that you have confidence with. and work it together. That's a nice thing of having a team. People can get together, they help you, and they form a comprehensive plan to get you what you want to be. So, oh my God, thank you so much for that story. Thank you so much. Is there anything else that happened this week that it would be great for for our listeners to know that can help them too? Anything else that has changed in the law? Anything else that has happened in this new year of 2022 that we started?
The 2022 come a lot of things, new things that we had to get involved. As far as what happened the last year with all this craziness, that people are changing the way they think, the way they work. A lot of people come from the north,
Yes.
New York, California, and also South
The
America.
Midwest, yes, South America. We have a lot of people from
America.
Central South America, from Europe.
Exactly. So we have a competitive value of people trying to, get into Florida. Florida
Yes.
is the hottest right now. So yes, we for now I think twice to buy. I need to reconsider and even for sell, because when you sell, you don't wanna get a property as qualified as where you're selling.
Yeah, unless you get out of the area, or you relocate, or you do somewhere else.
Exactly.
Like we said in a previous show, guys, be careful before you sell where you're gonna go into, and keep that in mind. And like I said, get yourself well informed. Call your local agent if you don't have one that you have confidence with, and see what's the best plan for you. I don't know what happens to time, but it just flies.
I know.
There's so much for us to say, but I want to remind you guys, please, your questions, keep them coming, keep your emails coming. I thank you always for being with us. I'm going to go on a commercial break, but I am coming right back. I'm coming right back because we still have more information, tips, and stories right here in your show, in your home, Puertas Abiertas, with Maricarmen Rodriguez on GKI Radio, with Martha joining me today. We'll be right back, folks. Welcome. Hello. I hope you enjoyed commercial. Welcome. I hope you had enjoyed our commercial break.
Welcome back.
Definitely welcome back. Well, I hope you're having a great time. I'm enjoying myself so much in this show. It's so great to talk to so many people. We've heard such great advice and tools. And like I said, this is the place to come and bring them. It's a place to come bring your concerns, your questions. And I'm telling you everything that whatever we cannot find, we're gonna find for you, okay? So I'm in one of my favorite segments, again, that people ask.
Yes.
I feel like we should have a drum roll, like the people ask, and then we get the questions. So who has called us today, and what
We
can we
have
help?
some good questions from Randy. He's from Orlando. What problems with my home can affect my health?
Oh boy, if you live in South Florida, imagine we are the capital of heat and rain. So you guys have to be careful with anything when you have leaks in your roof. If you have humidity, if you have any pipes that break, because the problem here is mold. We have a lot of issues with mold, black mold, green mold, depending on the area, and that is definitely a health hazard. I know that folks that in other areas, I know other parts of the country, they have issues with radon gas.
Right.
I am telling you, sometimes pests are an issue for health. Rats droppings are an issue inside the house. We've had issues when, believe it or not, we've had infestations for fleas and certain things, and those can affect adversely someone's health. I always say that if you're worried about mold or gas or radon or things like that, there are inspections available for you. And when you call your inspector, you just add that. Make sure that your pipes underground also, okay? Because I've heard of sometimes pipes underground or sewer pipes that are broken, and then you have that, they're floating.
Right.
But a good inspector is able to help you with that and get that rolling for you.
That's right. Oh, wow. Great.
Victoria is joining us today.
Yes, we have
Victoria wants to be part of the show.
Welcome, Victoria. So next we have Zoe. I found out after the fact that someone died in my house. Should I have been told? Wow.
According to real estate, no. So I'm going to be honest with that too. I know a lot of folks want to know, but in reality, what an agent or someone's supposed to disclose is anything that affects the structure of the property.
Right.
Sometimes, folks are elderly and they simply pass away or something could happen. But as far as in Florida, technically, we don't need to disclose things like that. It is what it is. I'm just telling you the truth. That is not something that we would disclose in real estate, given what the law is telling us that we can do or cannot do. According to the law, we're not supposed to disadvantage a property by disclosing something like that because it truly does not affect the value and the condition of the property.
Right.
Any other questions?
Yes, I have another question from Hector. What is considered things or appliances that must be in a property in order for the property to be rentable and financeable?
Okay, I'm gonna hit first the rentable. Rentable, I'm expecting a landlord to respect the law. We always say that you need to have a stove and a refrigerator. All of the other items, they're necessarily something that you need for everyday function, for existence, for the a person to be living in minimum conditions, right?
Right.
So for rental, you must have at least a refrigerator and a stove, right? Everything else is extra, but at least that. Somebody doesn't have to provide you with a dishwasher or a microwave, but they need to provide you with a refrigerator and a stove for you to cook. If you live in Florida, I'm going to add that you must have a working AC. The heat here, people can die of heat.
Right.
And if you are from any state or up north Florida, you know that you must have a heater and an AC. It's just part of minimal standard conditions for a human being to live in a property. If you're purchasing, remember, it all depends on your loan. If you're FHA, VA, 3%, 5%, yes, the home has to have minimum appliances, an AC, at least in working condition, and you must have a stove and a refrigerator.
Yeah.
If you're buying conventional or you're an investor, you know that you're buying cash or you're buying with a big down payment, they don't necessarily need to be there, but for specific loans, yes, they have to be there.
Wow.
So it all depends on your loan.
Yeah.
So that's a two-part question there, Hector.
Okay, awesome. So here we have another question from Beverly. How do the schools around me affect my home value?
A lot.
That's a good question.
A lot. Remember that a lot of families are looking for great public schools for their kids. Very simple. Private schools are very expensive. And if you are in a position that you cannot pay private school for your kid, at least you want your kid to go to a school where it's safe, maybe walking distance, where the school has an A rating, B rating, or what is considered what folks want to be a good school. So yes, it will affect your property value because more folks are looking to rent or to purchase in places where they can also give a decent education or is safe for their kids to go to school. They can bike, they can walk. So yes, everything you have around you affects the value of the property. Same way that if you're closer to the beach, you have more value.
Yes.
Same way that if you're centrally located to, big shoppings and things like that, or things that are happening, it also increases the value of your property. So yes, what do we say in real estate? Location is the first thing that you buy.
Very important.
So yes, that's where the first home value is co-location.
Yeah.
Do we have any more questions from the audience or from our listeners?
Yes, I have one more question from Bertha. How are homes and apartments appraised?
They're pretty much appraised the same way. An inspector goes in there and looks at the issues that a property may have and gets appraised pretty much in the same way. There's no different way that an appraiser would appraise a home than in a condo. Simply that also, let's say in a home, the roof is yours. In a condo, the roof may be association. So your appraiser will call the association and ask for those documentation from the association, or looking in public records, when was that roof changed for the condo? Have they have any issues? Have there been any permits outstanding? If it's a single home, then you need to provide them, or they go again to public records.
Right.
Remember that when you take a permit to change or to do something, that becomes public record. If you tell an appraiser, oh, I changed my roof, and there's no public records of changing that roof, he doesn't know if that a permit was taken out and this roof was done properly. So I don't know how he's going to appraise that or that. An appraiser looks for things that can affect the structure of the property, the safety of the property, from your pipes to your electricity, to your electrical panel, to conditions in the wall, to leaks, to your roof. An appraiser is looking for anything and everything. If there's foundation, if he feels the structure may have been moving. So all of this affects the property and affects what type of loans can be used in that kind of property. So, like I said, yeah, appraisers for condos and homes are similar, and they're looking for that, for structure stability, and according to the age and where the location of the property is whatever the appraiser will be looking for.
Thank you, Mari.
Okay.
Your
You're
information is so
welcome.
valuable.
You guys really bring questions for me. I love that. I love that you're as passionate as we are for real estate, because it's truly a passion. And I'm glad that you're bringing all these questions to ask. I am excited and I'm humbled that you guys are taking your private questions and bringing them to us. Please don't stop bringing them. Keep them coming, because that's what I'm here for. And that's what Janet is here for. Yes, yes. And then you get to meet us. I think I'm getting a message that we're in our last minute. For those of you guys who are just joining us, so this is the first time that you join us, this is Puertas Abiertas, means open doors in English. I wanted to give it a Spanish name because it's also a saying in Spanish that, you open up your heart, you open up your door, and friends come in. And that's what I feel like you, my audience, our listeners, you are friends, and this is your home, and I want you to feel comfortable here. And this is GKI Radio. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. The number that you call, in case you want to bring questions to us, is 407-476-9059. Remember, we have an email, puertasabiertasshow@gmail.com. And again, hope you can join us next week.
Yes.
You wanna take this one over and say goodbye, Janet?
Goodbye. Thank you, guys. Stay tuned. We'll see you next week.
Should I make her sing? When you open the door, there's the smiling hand for you. When you open the door, beautiful lives are coming through. Hey, we made Janet sing. Well, guys, I hope to see you next week. Please join me. It's so lonely if you're not here. And I cannot wait to see you again, sincerely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We see you soon, okay?
Bye-bye.
Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend.
Yes.